And welcome to Soul Family Chat, where we envision new possibilities for a new earth. I'm Guy Harvey, your host. If you'd like to be notified of future shows, please hit the subscribe button below and check the notification bell that's down below there. It's my great pleasure today to welcome Zohar. Zohar is a founder of a school for esoteric studies in Israel. Welcome, Zohar.
Hi.
And I'd also like to welcome Shai Perelson. Shai was born and raised in Israel and is a longtime meditator and yogi. And he recently watched Zohar's interview in Hebrew with Michael Bloom on My Free TV, which was widely watched in Israel. And Shai told me about the wonderful message that Zohar had to share. And that led to today's interview. Welcome, Shai.
Hi, thank you. And thank you, Guy, for letting me partake in this interview.
My pleasure. So, Zohar, the first question I'd like to ask you, I mean, these are very interesting times, a lot of changes for people. Many of us are experiencing sort of a dimensional split. We're living in different realities from maybe some of our friends and families. For example, some people seem to be aware of what maybe their agendas with governments and power and so forth, and some people are not. They take everything as face value that they're told. And Shai and I, we live in a spiritual community here, and there's a lot of people, we can use the word awake, that kind of awake to maybe some of these things that are hidden to other people, and we get together with our friends and we have a strong community, and that's great. But now a lot of people are isolated. They're out there in various places in the world, and they're the only one in their family or the community or their workplace that's awake somewhat to what's going on. Did you have any advice, thoughts about this situation?
Okay. Well, I think, first of all, that it doesn't matter what kind of consciousness we hold, we are never alone. Sometimes we will have the support of our family, sometimes we will have support of society, and sometimes we have the support of our inner truth and wisdom. And whether we are awake or not awake, I have a problem a bit with the definition, because it just assumes that someone who is not awake as I am may be sleeping, and I don't think most people feel they are sleeping or unawake in their own life. I think what is happening now is that people are perceiving life in very different dimensions, and all dimensions are sacred, and all experiences are sacred, and it's not really a hierarchy. Yeah, it's not like something is better than the other. And through history, there were always people who saw a different truth than the collective. It didn't make them more right or the collective more wrong. It just made them different. And being different is, I think, many times make you feel lonely. And you have to kind of find the support within yourself rather than your society or your community or your family. And I mean, in this aspect, it's not very different. People who always find their individual path, they were always looked as different, and they always had to find a very strong independence within themselves and to trust their own truth to provide for them. Actually, it can actually become a very strengthening learning experience. To maybe we like to be held by other people and supported and maybe echoed by other people to tell us, yes, you're right, it's true. But I think for people now who are feeling more isolated, it is really time for them to really, really trust their truth and their point of view and not judge other people's or the collective point of view. It's like, and find really the support within their own truth. And even though it may be may feel isolated, every way of awareness has its support system. Whether you are in the collective awareness or you're in an individual awareness, every truth we hold within us, whether it's echoed by the whole society or whether it's echoed only by us, any truth to know is how to connect to the support system of the truth that we hold within ourselves, and then we don't feel so lost or alone. I can't hear you because you are muted.
In the beginning, you were saying that, well, I think the whole point about not judging and judging other people as being asleep, it's like different, but not better or not worse.
Well, when we say, oh, they're sleeping, they're not aware of what is really happening, it's not their experience. They are aware of what they think is really happening. And that is a sacred experience. And I think a lot of spiritual communities do not value that. And I think they are gravely mistaken in the way that they are feeling superior to other people by thinking that they know what is really happening because they have their point of view of what is happening behind the scene or something like this. Mm-hmm. But there are so many ways to experience life, and different people see truths in different places in awareness. And I think, like, even viewing those people as naive or following the government, they are following what they know how to follow and feels real to them. And that is a sacred experience. And if I don't follow it, it doesn't make me any wiser or awake than someone else. They are awake in their own reality, and they need to learn it in their own tools and in their own capacity. So I think in that sense, a lot of the conflict that we are feeling now between like communities or different points of views is coming from a sense of superiority, and that is a paradigm we might want to let go of, I think.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's polarized, and both sides, if we can say we can limit it to two sides, believe they're right and are very judgmental of the other side.
Yeah, but as awakened people or more aware people, maybe we have the tools to let go of this polarity and not feed into it. Yes. By feeling. So, I mean, it comes with a responsibility or with a capability that we can exercise, and we need more people to exercise it, not just, okay, so they're doing this, so it's polarized because, if we are awake, as you say, or some of us, or we have more awareness or different awareness, then we don't have to be we don't have to be sucked into this polarization system. We can just live our truth regardless, and without trying to pull other people into our truth. Just let them be where they are and respect their experience, and find our way to be where we wish to be. And I think it's possible.
Okay, beautiful. So what would you say to someone that says, well, there's kind of there's a mass mind consciousness, or there's group thinking, and that group thinking supports certain actions. For example, a certain amount of people support what the government is doing, and all of a sudden all these restrictions come. And so people actually feel, well, I don't judge them, they're welcome to their own experience, but collectively they're creating a new situation that's actually creating a lot of discomfort in my life. And they feel, and they may feel angry about that. It's like, you know, and people do feel angry about it.
Life was never meant to be what we want it to be. I think this is a very important understanding. Life is not meant to reflect what you think life should be. And we can dream a different world, and we can put our deepest intention for change. But life is a construction. It's not meant to echo what you wish for it to be. It is many, many forces at action. And I think the true liberty or freedom is not to be allowed to live life how I want to live it. It's to find my freedom even though I don't always get what I want. And where am I always free? Where is my true liberty that no one can touch it? So I can decide that no matter what happens, I wish to vibrate unconditional love, okay? No one can take this freedom from me. I can be in a cell, I can be in a jungle, I can be in a violent situation, and I can put my intentions towards unconditional love. So I think if we don't resist so much what is happening, I'm not saying accept or say it's true or this is what should happen. I'm saying like hold a very independent vibration no matter what is happening around me. Then we create these kind of islands of sanity or islands of love or islands of wisdom, or everyone, you know, anybody can decide their own individual vibration that they aspire towards. Yes. And this is how change can happen. By resisting something, you are giving it your power. By being angry at something, you are making it very strong. But I always try to see how I can find my path unconditionally to the conditions I'm in. So of course it creates anger because there is, you know, I just want to go where I want to go and I want to do what I want to do. But this is not what life is in a human society at this moment. It never was. We actually exercise a lot more freedom than humans used to have centuries ago. Most humans were slaves until a few hundred years ago. No one was allowed to go anywhere without the permission of their master. Yes. So it's like, never take your liberty for granted and find the way to even I want to say something about all these lockdowns and things. You know, maybe society is now stopping the motion as it used to be. But when we take our time to be with ourselves and this automatic motion we were in stops, it actually cracks our reality. And this crack is very good for creating change. And wherever you think governments or societies are taking like control and taking away something from you, they're actually digging a hole underneath their control. It's like it works the other way around. So I think we don't have to be so much afraid that something is changing. And, you know, everybody keeps saying that they want change, but when you give them change, they don't want it like this. And they don't want it like this. And we have this concept that change has to be something very specific, like correcting or making better what is. But the whole concept of change, it's not correcting what is or making it better. It's letting something really change. And if you try to make change in education system or economic system, and someone will come with a great vision, immediately everyone says, yes, we want change, but not like this. Yes. And not like this. Mm-hmm. So maybe not to be so much afraid, because what is happening now is temporary. It's not what it's going to be all the time.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about unconditional love, I just wanted to clarify, because some people kind of feel this is like also like a passive thing. I think you said it doesn't mean, you know, not to take action. For example, if for example my sovereignty is being violated in some way, then I have the right to stand up and say no and put my boundaries around that. It doesn't just mean, oh, I'm going to love you unconditionally and I'm going to let you run over me at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see unconditional love as something passive. I actually, like, if I just accept everything that happens and I say, okay, I just accept it with love, okay, then maybe I let everything go through me or run me down, or, okay, that's one thing. When I say unconditional love, first of all, I think it's a very active vibration. Like when you actually sit and you project unconditional love to the situation or to something, yes, you are actively creating a vibration. You are putting a presence in the world. Now, I'm not naive. It's not like, okay, let's just be with love and everything will be okay. It's not this. It's actually a boundary that protects me, because it will, it's very hard to create aggression towards an actively unconditional love vibration. Now, I think everyone should respect their calling at this time. If your calling is to say, no, this is not acceptable, do this with love. Just don't do it with fear. Say, no, this is my right as a human being, and this is unacceptable, and I will bring all my love to this resistance and all my respect to myself, okay? But it doesn't have to be from like a survival or from a angry place. Yeah, it's like everyone has a different calling at this time, and some people do have a calling to stand for human rights, and that's really, really important. So I'm not taking this away in any way.
Very good. Shai, would you like to make a comment here? Do you have anything you'd like to introduce to the topic?
To start with, it's just very beautiful what Zohar is saying. I think it's very, if I understand correctly, it's a very subtle. I think you assume an attitude which is not resisting. It's not resisting. It's just standing in your own center and like that. But it's not about resisting something else. It's just, yeah, being your own self and be unwavering maybe about that. But it's not about, yeah, it's a very subtle difference. And it's not passive, but it's not actively aggressive. It's not so. And if you can assert, even if you can inject into that love actively, a vibration of love, then if you have this capacity in you, it's actually probably a function of your how awakened you are. Because if you are really awakened, you will have more of this capacity to accept, yes, there are different levels of perception, and I'm in this, and I'm not resisting others. I'm just flowering in mine. That's all. I still have that. That's my remarks, but in the way of question to Zohar.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were going to ask a question.
She's answering. Let's.
Okay, we'll continue.
Let her continue.
We'll go on. I'm going to introduce a second question here, and I think in a way you've already answered this. I mean, it's part of the same thing, but let's talk specifically about what's going on with the medicalization or with the jab in the arm. And obviously, a lot of people are taking it. I mean, in Israel, a lot of people are taking it, and here in America, it's not so much. But we have a situation where almost everyone that's not taking the medicalization, who's very firm that doesn't want to take it, almost all of those people are either in a family or community or business where people close to them are taking it. For example, I have a friend whose brother is in a family, his wife has taken the medicalization, all the children have, and it's a very difficult situation. For example, they want him to leave the house when other relatives come to visit because they're afraid that they might become ill from him. And it's very painful for people. There's people that, yeah, their spouses are getting it, or their children are getting it, or their children and their parents are getting it. Any thoughts for those people?
It is very difficult. And it's also here in Israel, where we have a green passport or whatever, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also within families, there were many issues. I know because I had also people come to me and ask me what to do about it. I think what we really need to, we don't need to do anything, but my advice is to deeply respect everyone's choice over their own body. Meaning that if I decide not to follow through with medical procedures, then I respect my own body and I respect my own space. And I also have to respect other people who decided to use the medical options available. And I think one of the keynotes at this time is to find deep, very deep respect to everyone's right to their own opinion, their own body, and their own space. Now, I'm going to say something, I don't know if it's radical or not, but if I decided not to take medicine, okay, and someone doesn't want me at their presence, yes, it's hurtful. I can feel like hurt, and I can feel angry, and I can also deeply, deeply respect their choice and their understanding of the situation. And when I deeply, deeply respect that, then I don't take it personally. I just understand that there is a lot of fear at this moment. And there are a lot of, it's not even just fear, there are different opinions of how the world should get out of this situation. Now, it was never easy upon earth to follow your own truth. It was never an easy experience. Even someone, let's say the whole family works in a family business, and then there's one kid who wants to be a dancer, okay?
Yeah.
It's not an easy path to take, okay? It's never been easy to follow your own truth on this planet. And there's always been a price to pay. And we pay prices for every decision we make. If I do take the medicine, I pay a price because I'm not maybe loyal to my opinion or my body or my space. And if I don't take it, I pay a price because I feel rejected or I am rejected from other places. But if I understand that we are going through a very, very big change, and change is creating fear, and fear creates different paths of what to do. Yeah, people are trying to find control where they are losing control. So medicalization is actually giving many people a sense of control over this shift or this change, and they're hanging on to it. And instead of vastly feeling this very intense change, they are minimalizing it to whether you took medicine or didn't take medicine. And there they feel like they have control. So they put a boundary, okay? And it makes them feel safe because they are doing something to keep themselves safe. Because the change is so deep and it's so rattling. How can I judge anyone who is afraid at this moment? How can I judge anyone who feels so intense feelings through this change and doesn't have experience, like maybe me? I can maybe breathe through this and I can help myself, and I have my spirit guides or I have my meditation. Most people, a lot of people don't have this, so they go to the systems that they know to feel safe. So I think if I deeply respect my own choice over my own body, I have to deeply respect that maybe these people don't want my presence because they are afraid, and it's not personal. And when I deeply, deeply respect, I create boundaries with love. It's not rejection. It's so much love that I understand this and I respect their need to feel safe. And I also respect myself to give myself what I feel that I need. And if I honor this, then I'm never alone. I can find other people to hold this vibration with me. Okay? But I think, like Shai said before, when you resist something, you're actually, it's like a rubber band that you pull and it pulls you back. And like the awake people, as you say, we should know better than that. Okay? We should just let it be what it is. And maybe we have the inner strength to forgive and to have compassion towards this fear. And we don't have to feed it. We don't have to say, okay, I'll get the medical thing. We don't have to feed it. We just have to respect every human being and their experience within it and their need for boundaries, because it's very scary for many, many people.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Shai, do you have a comment on that? Yep.
You're muted. Shai, you are muted.
Oops.
There you go.
Yeah, so again, I have a question now, but again, to say it's so beautiful to listen to this attitude and approach. My question is, take it to another level. I don't know if Guy wants to go to it. You keep on saying there is a big change. There is a big change happening, and it manifests itself as this disease or this socio-economical situation and political situation, and it's worldwide. But these are just the manifestation of some change, very fundamental change that is undergoing now. So I wonder if you can see, what is your perception and vision? What is this change? Where is it coming from? What's the nature of this change? What are we looking at here?
Okay. This is taking us to a different level of conversation. Okay.
Sure. Well, let's go there now, and then I'll come back. I'll come back to the conversation we had before. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the way energy was working for us for the last thousands of years and hundreds of years, we've like kind of got to the end of what it could do in our conscious. Okay, something has, even ecologically, yeah, something in the human movement on this earth is not, it's not sustainable. Something has to change. I believe we're a part of this earth consciousness, which lies within its core, which is very, very strong and intense light or awareness or vibration. And I feel the earth core is shifting. Something within the earth core is dramatically shifting. Imagine like there are dragons and all of a sudden they are awake and they're putting new fire into the earth core, yeah? And we are reacting to it. We are reacting to it. Now, when something changes, we need a way to perceive it. We need to turn it into something tangible. So we say economic system, ecologic system, medical system. Yeah, we throw it on different things that it manifests through them. And I think what is changing within the core of the earth is a new awareness, a new language, a new vibration, which has many, many aspects. you know, for many centuries, we look outside or up to see enlightenment. We look to the sun, we look to God, and we always look outside. But the change is happening within the core of the earth, and we have to start looking inside and finding all this light and new abilities for us as humans to change into. It's like an evolution of the human race or the humankind into something a bit different. And it's actually coming home, not by leaving this planet to our home planet. It's coming home within, like in the way of meeting our planet in a much, much deeper way, and understanding her consciousness and understanding her new gifts for us. Now, I don't think it's right for this conversation to give all the different aspects of it, because it's really, really a different conversation about the essence of this change. But there is, like if you look at shamanic myths, we are now moving from the fourth world of separation to the fifth world of illumination, where we understand that nothing is separated from us. There are many, many language to astrological people have different language for this. It's not about becoming one, and it's not about going back to heaven or to this original source. It's about understanding differently what it means to be human, what it is to be a man or a woman on this planet, what is life. I think maybe we are getting closer to understand the tree of life instead of the tree of judgment of good and wrong. Maybe we can get closer to this vibration of life, which is really a great mystery to us. And it's not just biological life, it's light life, it's many aspects of life, but I think maybe we talk about it more specifically in a different time. It's just that what I want to say about this change is not to be afraid of its manifestation. The change is greater than our ability to resist it. And even though it feels like society is trying to resist it or to put a lot of control, I have so much trust in time and in this change that I don't feel I need to control it. I feel like I need to be the change I want it to be. Meaning that instead of resisting what other people are doing, or instead of fighting what other people are doing, there is a crack in the universe that allows me to actually manifest my dreams and the future I believe this earth should become, and actually vibrating it at the presence and creating the change I want to see in the awareness of human society. So it's very complex, but very simple also.
Beautiful. Yes, yeah. Maybe another time we'll go deeper into that. I wanted to come back to our conversation. You're in Israel, and probably of any country in the world, Israel is experiencing the most extreme, say, reaction at a governmental level in terms of lockdown and implementation of the medicalization. And so people here in America, they're observing what's happening in Israel. And it's generating a lot of fear for people, because I think that to some people it's unimaginable, like some of the restrictions that have been imposed that might be coming here. I mean, they're fearful that they're going to lose their right to travel, to attend certain events, or even be restricted to go to the grocery store. And like a concern for a lot of people is, what if I want to go and get an operation at the hospital, but they won't allow you to have it unless you have the medicalization. And it's interesting, Shai and I live in the state of Iowa, and there's actually a bill on the table of the governor of Iowa right now that we'll see whether she approves it or not. But the bill actually bans passports, medicalization passports for businesses and almost everything except for the health sector. And people are calling the governor now to say, well, no, that's not acceptable. Because, I mean, from my perspective, if I want to go to a doctor or go to the hospital and I have a broken arm, for example, and I need some surgery, if they require me to get this other medical treatment, that's a violation of my rights. I think it's a violation of the Nuremberg Code. It's actually forcing a medical treatment on me because it's not related. It's not, this other medical treatment is not related to the surgery on my arm. With your experience now of what's happened in Israel, what can you say to people here in America and anywhere else in the world that are really concerned about what may be coming their way?
It's not an easy situation. And it has its effect on everyday life. And I don't think that at the bottom line, I think like the value of life is higher. So even if in Israel, if you don't get a medical treatment and you need the hospital, you will get into the hospital, yeah, because there's like, they have to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
But people lost their jobs, and there are places that I can't go into. And the first instinct is to also feel like, what do you say? It's not racist when some people are allowed for something and other people are not allowed for something. I forgot the word.
Discriminated or being victimized.
Yeah, discrimination.
Discrimination. Yeah. Discrimination is a very hard energy to accept. Also, I want to say that through our world history, there's always been people discriminated from something. Women were discriminated from universities until not so far ago, and were discriminated from almost anything or everything. And people with dark skin were discriminated, and people with eyes different were discriminated, and natives were at every point in history, some section of humans were discriminated. So first of all, maybe it's our turn, and maybe we can accept it with love, and we don't have to feel like we are being discriminated. We can feel we are being liberated from places that maybe I should not be in. I will give you an example. Some places here in Israel, also supermarkets, want to do the green thing, yeah? And so I decided I don't shop there anymore. And yeah, now I live in a very small town, and we only have one supermarket. And this is the chain that decided to force the medicalization on all its employees. And I decided not to shop there anymore. Now I have to collect my things from very different places. And I joined a cooperative here that buys things in a different way. And it's not very convenient, but it feels very, very good. And I assure you, or I can't assure anything, but I feel that instead of trying to get into something that maybe rejects this, we just need to build new systems. So I'm sure there are doctors that don't support medicalization, and they will be happy to open clinics for people who do not wish to be medicalized in this way. Or schools, and it's not about like separating, we're talking about splitting dimensions and things like this. It's just like there are always an alternative. If you know, like the bull, it goes to the red cloth and it just goes through it, yeah? So if we don't want to crash into the wall, we can always find a door or a window, and we can create alternatives for everything. And we feel free and we feel good about it. And maybe the vibration is so nice and lovely where we go that other people want to come. And this is how we create a new flow of energy. We don't insist on going where we are not wanted or welcome. we create such a beautiful vibration in a different place that energy starts flowing that way. And we do it by not resisting, but by creating. So this is
Beautiful.
a great, great time for dreamers and creators. Just create alternatives. So, okay, you're not allowed to put more people in one room to teach outside. You're not allowed to go to a show, make a street show. Be flexible, be creative, find new solutions. I think this is the way to shift this change from horror to imaginative, or from catastrophe to inspiring. So I think we can do this.
That's really beautiful, Zohar, and it's very much along the lines that I've been thinking. I observe things in our community. For example, in our community, there's a very large meditation hall where people go daily to meditate. And the university that operates this decided that anybody from outside the university communities in town who normally go there, now they have to get the medicalization, they have to show a card to go there. And of course, some people wanted to kind of lobby with the university and fight them and try and convince them and make presentations. But then another group just said, okay, well, we'll just go and create our own meditation hall. And also in our community, a group of people just started holding a potluck. In America, potlucks when everybody brings their own food and you share. And because many places were closed down and you couldn't get together, people have been coming now to this community center that's held in the church now for maybe about 3 months. And sometimes there's 30, 40, 50 people there every week. And just the joy is fantastic. You can really, really experience that. But what's really interesting is the connections and the love bonds that are growing between those people. In that, it's like a new community. And this weekend, also from that community, two women who were concerned that their children were required to wear the face coverings in the school were concerned. So they decided to organize a rally for freedom. And maybe about 150 people attended on Saturday. And again, the feeling was joyful. And when many of those people were at the Sunday potluck the next day, I could feel just a whole different level of connection, love, strength, and power from this community, because they'd taken their own path and just they did what they wanted to do, and the rally didn't really interfere with anybody else. Of course, some people don't like it and they have things to say about it on Facebook, but we don't mind. And I think that this is the beginning of we have to create. We're going to have to. I think with the changes that are coming are going to be very dramatic, and we're going to have to create new ways of living. And so this is a kick in the pants to start doing it now. I just loved everything that you said about this.
This is where you don't lose your own power when you create. When you react to government, or when you react to rejection, or when you react to discrimination, then you're not in your own power, because you are reacting. They have the power and you are adjusting or resisting or compelling. But if you are creating, you're just free of this, and you don't have to change the whole world. You don't have to change others. You just have to create the change you wish to vibrate, and you can vibrate it unconditionally, no matter what the situation is. So I think this is very empowering to individuals. Yeah. And I believe that in the next 2 to 3 years, there is this crack in time where we can actually import the future we wish to vibrate into the present. So it's like unconditionally vibrating what you believe should be the essence of your existence. And by vibrating it now, you're actually importing the future, and you are anchoring it into a time of shift. And whatever you anchor, it will grow once like other levels shift around it. So it's actually a very, very special time for whoever is able to perceive it and not react from fear or something like this.
Yes, and I think what's important is like you said, it's like if what there's this expression in English. I'm sure you have something similar in Hebrew. If one door closes, another door opens.
Yeah.
And I've observed with my son. My son is 20 years old, and he was in his second year of university. And then now they require the testing, regular testing, and he's very clear. I'm not taking this medical treatment. I'm not doing these tests. And we said, okay, if you don't want to go to university, that's fine. Now he's doing different creative things. He's taking some courses online. He's doing some traveling, and he's realizing actually he didn't really like university that much. He's had a whole new awareness, and many different things are opening up for him. And it's great that he was able to make that choice. And I'm proud that his mother and myself that we're flexible, that we support him to make different choices. No, you have to go to college. Everybody has to go to college, no matter what. So we said, okay, we trust him to make these different decisions. So this is really beautiful. Yeah, Shai, you want to comment?
Maybe all these institutes, the medical institutes, the educational institutes, and they are holding certain vibration, and it's the old vibration. And it's brilliant what Zohar is saying. You're actually thank you for not accepting me, because it's really time for me to move into something higher. And it feels like it's a sacrifice or a loss, but it's not. It's just a jumping board. It's opportunity. And this subtle is such a brilliant and simple thing. It's a subtle change of attitude. Instead of resisting, just be more creative in the direction of that you want to go. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Zohar, for putting it this way. It's so simple, but it's shifting consciousness, just in attitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
From my understanding, any place that doesn't accept me is a place I just don't have, it's not right vibration for me. So it's very easy for me now. And I also, in some places, yeah, it's a bit more difficult. And in some places it's easier to let go. Yeah. But really, it's our capability to create the change or to follow it. I mean, if you follow the change, then it will lead you to where you have to go. But if you want the change to be like this or not like this, then you are resisting. It doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep or whatever category you define yourself. You're still resisting. So there are many ways to deal with this situation.
Very good.
I'm thinking, and just a joke. There used to be a joke around, I don't want to join the club that is willing to accept me, a person like me. Now I'm saying it's the opposite now. I don't want to join a club who doesn't want me, because they hold a vibration that I'm not interested in, obviously. That's all.
Yes.
So I'm creating new clubs. And respecting them, they
I'd like to move on to another question. And I think in a way you've answered this, or at least spoken to it somewhat already. One of the surprises for some people, it's not a particular surprise to me, but many spiritual leaders, spiritual teachers in the world are going along with the mainstream, maybe what the World Health Authorities are saying and what the governments are saying. And some organizations that people tend to follow these people, so they go along with it. Shai and I, we live in a community where, let's say, the people have been on a spiritual path, mainly a yogic path here, many for 30, 40 years. Many are very expert in the ancient scriptures, particularly like from Vedic scriptures from India and the Vedic science of consciousness. But still we have this split here. So some of those people are just going along, they'll take the medicalization, they believe everything that they're told on by the media, and then others are not going along. We're kind of Shai and I are in that camp. I guess the surprise to us is that we thought like, oh, well, these people have been doing all this, spiritual work, and maybe they would have figured it out before anybody else. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I think they figured out exactly what they need to figure out. And we should respect that, and everyone should respect that. And just by being spiritual or yogi doesn't mean we all have the same point of view of things. It doesn't mean we all have the same structure within us. Like our souls can be different, they can come from different places. I've seen many spiritual teachers who speak in a vibration of fear or doom and gloom, and you see now this is going to happen. And in the beginning, a lot of people, awake people, like first, at least in Israel, they said like the government, if we don't do this and this and this, we'll have thousands of people dying on the street. Yeah, and we didn't see thousands of people die on the street. But then when they came with the medical treatment, so a lot of the awakened people say we will have thousands of people dying from medical treatment. And when people are in fear, they have the same vibration. Doesn't matter if they're spiritual or not spiritual. And I'm not saying that people who agree to this medicalization are not spiritual or are not in an awareness. They are just in a different awareness. And it's really okay. And they're not fools. They're not being fooled by anyone. They are being true to what they are able to perceive and understand and follow their own path. And we really don't know the future. We don't really know if this is right or this is wrong. What everyone can know is if it's right for me. And maybe for some people, this medical option gives them like an ability to lower levels of fear or to feel safe, and then it's good for their body, and their body can work with it. And maybe for someone else it's very terrible for their body. We are very different. We are not all the same. And I think the keynote here is deeply respect all points of views, and not thinking that by seeing maybe behind the scene or seeing manipulation that you are more right than someone else. You are just seeing it the way you are seeing it. And being a spiritual teacher or being in a spiritual community still keeps you human, and you are still in your human abilities and your capacity to work with change, or your inner structure of your emotions, or the family you were brought in. And it's okay that we are taking different paths now. If we do it with love, then maybe we see it's not very different. Maybe maybe this medical thing, it's not so huge as we think it is. Maybe it doesn't split us so much. It's just a way for different people to work with the change. So I don't think that by being spiritual or following a spiritual path, it makes you immune to fear or many other things.
Well, one thought I had, because you were talking about choice and respecting choices, is that some people do seem to follow what they hear from some level of authority. So it might be, for some people, it might be government or media, or government through media. Now, some people in religions or spiritual organizations, they follow their teachers, but that's also a choice, right? That they've made a choice that I'm going to take my instructions from this higher authority. Other people are more self-sufficient. Even if somebody in authority says something, they say, well, that's okay, but I'm still going to think for myself and make my own choice. So in other words, just the choice to follow, that is a choice, and we have to respect that. We can't put it on the leader and say, that bad leader, he told them all to do it, and then they all followed. But it was their choice to
the leader becomes leader if he's being followed.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and I think it's very important that we all take responsibility for our choices.
Yeah.
And if we decide to follow a politician or a doctor or a spiritual teacher, yeah, we can't blame. We always like to give our authority to someone, and then we like to take it away from him and blame him for all that is wrong in our society or in our life. And this is a trap. So whatever happens, everyone should feel or try to feel that they have made a choice. And then it's their responsibility to live with the outcome of their choices. And then there is no victims. Even if I followed my leader, the spiritual or the leader, I decided to give this person my power, or decided to take it to myself. Yeah. Or maybe he just echoed something that feels right to me.
Yes,
he echoed a language that just resonates well with what I think should happen, and it's okay.
Yes, I mean, I want to give a specific example here that happened in our community. The president of the university, which is sort of important institution in the community here, sent out a letter, and it more or less gave a positive spin on taking the medicalization. But it's interesting that he said, well, it's not our position to give medical advice, but we've been asked. They were getting emails, people are asking them. And I know people have been, some people are sort of angry that they took this position, but I wrote this on Facebook. I said, people ask them. If you ask, you're going to get you're going to get an answer.
Yes, it takes a lot of strength to be independent and to know what is right for you, and not to ask for advice, and to just follow your own feeling, whether it is to take medicine or not. It just takes a lot of strength. And I think our systems do not empower people to take their own strength. It's not like you go to school and they tell you what to learn and how to learn it. And from very young age, we are not actually being taught how to use our own judgment, or we're not taught for that. So then we look in the world and we try to find the person that resonates with maybe something that we believe in or makes us feel safe, because we are not being taught to think about something and see how it works for us and what we think or feel about it, or what are their consequences. We are taught to follow laws. Do this, don't do this. We're not taught to be sensitive and to feel what is happening. We're just taught to be obeyed from very young age. Do this, don't do this. And then we lose our sensibility, and we lose the ability to think about things. And then obviously we come to this point that we just need to ask, so what to do? And it's very hard. So if we want to change that, we need to start changing our education system, and we need to start teaching people a whole new set of tools of how to approach life, not through law and what is to do or not to do, but through sensitivity. What is right for me? What is not right for me? How this makes me feel? How this makes me feel? And to give back the individual the power to his own life. So I can totally understand how people now, through this very big change, with no tools, inner tools to what to do, they look for answers from authority. And maybe we can give alternatives to this. We can give new teachings to children, to adults, how to take their powers back and develop their inner sensitivity to themselves and their inner voice. And there are always teachers who try to teach this. Maybe at this time there are more people willing to listen. I don't know.
And this is what you are doing in your school?
It's part of what I do. Yeah, we learn this to be responsible for who we are and the vibration we bring to the world, and how to work with energy fields, and how to work with the different constructions within us. And in my Facebook talks, I try to give tools to empower the individual, to make him feel capable of even making a choice or thinking about something, or taking the time to see how they feel about something. These are so simple things that we miss out on. So I try to give tools in many different levels. Some levels are very operative, and some are more deeper energy fields of work, or I don't know how to describe it. I don't have the vocabulary today, but maybe another time.
Gaia, I have time for another little question.
Yes, yeah. I think we've been on about an hour now, so I think we're going to close fairly soon. But if you'd like to, I was going to ask Zohar if he had any final comments, but you go ahead, ask your question.
Just follow up on what was just said by Zohar. Since I'm here in the US, I heard all the time, I'm listening all the time to American indigenous teachings, shamans and Native Americans and South America and all that, Mayan and all that. And there is one thing they keep on saying, is that the West needs to learn how to think from the heart, or with the heart also. So, and it took me long time because I'm very Western. My brought up is very Western, very scientific, very technical, technological, and it took me long time to, what do they mean? What do they mean think by the heart? I think now I have a lot more sense of it in the last few years, but this is, you think that's what you meant by, what do I feel about something, you know? That's how you decide, you know, what do I feel? What do I feel about it?
I have very deep roots in shamanism and in North American shamanism learning, and I teach it a lot. And what we can say is that for many centuries, the Western men or humans, they've been working mainly through their third chakra, the solar, the yellow one, and now it's time to move up to the fourth one, to the heart. The heart has a different kind of intelligence because it actually integrates all the different chakras into a new way of looking or feeling or understanding things. So like if we started as just physical beings, and then we become like life beings, and then we become thinking beings, and now we become heart beings. Yeah, it's like we go up in this scale, and each chakra gives us a dominance of a different awareness. And the dominance of the awareness that we are shifting into now, and this is also shamanic language, is to the heart chakra, which it's a different intelligence. It brings different ways of thinking or perceiving. It's not just thinking, it's perceiving reality, dream, and it has very intelligent solutions to problems that when we work with just the mind or the lower chakras, we can't really grasp them. So it's actually very, very exciting, energetic work to move the dominance of our energy to the heart, and there are many practices to do this, and it's mainly to enhance our sensitivity, I think.
I must say a little anecdote about that. When Solomon, King Solomon, his brother was killed, and it occurred to him that he's going to inherit the throne from his father David. So he went to the sanctuary of the temple, and he knew he needs to be the judge of the people, the Supreme Court. And he was asking, the boon he was asking from the divine, from God, was to bestow on him the wisdom of the heart. That's how it's written in the book of Kings, in the scripture. He was asking not to be the wisest man. He was asking to have the wisdom of the heart. Anyway, just an anecdote from Jewish heritage.
Thank you, Shai. Thank you, Zohar. So, do you have any last comments? I'd just like to tell everybody we'll put the links to your website and Facebook and email if people would like to reach out to you. I'm not sure. Do you have any activities in English? Is everything in Hebrew at the moment?
I think I have one video about the vibration of love that has subtitles in English, but all the rest it's in Hebrew because I don't have people in English to listen to me, so I didn't take the effort to do it. But I'll be happy to do more things in English if there are people who wish to learn from it. And so I think, yeah, everything is written in Hebrew except for this one video. But you can definitely write to my email and I will try to answer, or we can do another talk if you wish for more of this in English, because I don't have a platform to talk to people in English. So.
Wonderful. Well, we're really honored that you're doing this today with us in English. I think this is your first sort of interview in English, and that's really that's a great honor for me and for Shai. And
how about another one?
Yes. Yeah. I think yeah. Zohar just said that. Yeah. That would be wonderful. Do you have any final comment?
I think it's just this time will pass. Yes, it's not gonna stay here forever. And I think maybe we can think of what story we would like to tell our grandchildren about this time and who we were. Like if I sit in 20 or 30 years with someone, like who would I like to have been through this change? Would I have liked to have been the rebel or the or the victim? Maybe we can think of like this is extraordinary time, and we are being stripped away from many liberties that we took for granted, and things are changing. But we can decide who we want to be through this change. And I think, like if I talk to someone and I say, yes, it was hard, but it was beautiful, and I brought it took all my love out of me, or my creativeness. And so if we think ahead to like 30 years from now or 20, who would I like to have been through this shift? Maybe it helps us to focus on who we can be now. So, and you can think big and simple and beautiful, because there are so many possibilities open because of the crack. Something cracked, many forces are trying to pull it together, but this crack is magic. And the magic is within our touch. So I think maybe it's a good way to look at it.
That's very, very wise. That's a beautiful message. And thank you for all your wisdom today. I'm sure many people are going to be uplifted and strengthened by your messages today. I thank you, Shai, and we look forward to having you on the show again. Thank you very much, Zohar. Thank you very much, Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.